I am not the same person I was. I own a home now. I got custody of my kids back. Like, we can be so much more than what we are when we're down on our luck.
Is recovery possible? Absolutely. My life today is incredible. I'm a valued employee. I'm an amazing mom. I am a functioning member of society.
It's like a warm, fuzzy feeling inside to know that the Lord blessed me with a second chance, and an opportunity to do it the right way.
I'm living proof. I'm not back out there on the streets, doing the things I was doing. It's time for me to be productive and be the man that I was supposed to be.
Today, policy keeps the homeless down, and it's completely decimated the options in the system because we're following a one-size-fits-all approach, and it's decimated innovation in the system that desperately needs it.
Just putting somebody in four walls, putting them in an apartment, a duplex, a house, that does not solve homelessness. It may take it out of sight for a while, but it's not treating the individual that you just put in there. They need to relearn how to live inside.
My name is Adriana, and I am a mother of 3 beautiful children. As you can see, my life is pretty great, but it hasn't always been this way. My whole life I've struggled with addiction. I started methamphetamine use at a very young age, about 13 years old. I had met this boy, and we had a domestically violent relationship, and it was really, really bad. CPS was called, and they interceded and said, hey, if you leave, we will gift you housing. And so what an opportunity. I can leave him in this domestic violent relationship. If I pay just a minimal portion with this housing first opportunity, I can afford my rent. At which point I found myself free to use daily. I found myself spiraling in my addiction, even to the extent that I could no longer afford that $100 payment every single month. And so what happened was I ended up losing my housing.
Living out there on the streets in a tent with my husband and my kids, it wasn't easy. Every day was a struggle.
They have to battle with what are they going to eat, where are they going to stay tonight, how are they going to stay warm, how do they cool off, are they going to be assaulted, are they going to be sexually assaulted. There's all types of stresses that are going on in our individuals' lives that are out here on the street.
Living on the streets is very scary. You could kind of learn how to sleep with one eye open and one eye closed, always watch your back.
Every person that's homeless, they've been traumatized in some way. Living on the street is trauma.
If you live on the streets, you are probably anesthetizing yourself from the misery of living on those streets with illicit drugs and alcohol.
Everyone out here, everyone is doing meth. They'll do whatever it takes to, get that $10. It takes $10 will set you straight.
Government tells us that somewhere between 20 and 30% of the homeless population struggle with mental illness and addiction. But I can tell you from running St. John's, that is not the truth. 78% of our mothers struggled with addiction, about 70% with mental illness, about 60% with criminal history, and 70% with domestic violence. We have a policy that ignores the underlying issues which lead people to homelessness, largely addiction and mental illness. This policy is leading the homeless into deep, dark pits that are going to be very, very difficult to climb out of.
Each day, I prayed and asked God to forgive me because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do as a mother. I put drugs before my bills. I put drugs before my family.
We believe that if you just put someone straight into housing without the wraparound services, without addressing the roots of homelessness, you aren't setting that person up to be successful.
While I was in my housing first housing, I needed services, no mode of transportation. So it would take up my whole day. Minimal effort was given in those appointments, and I'm not even sure what was accomplished. I felt hopeless. What a waste of time. What a waste of my day. I would come home exhausted, depleted, and feel defeated.
But a lot of these people have lost hope. They've lost hope that there's anything more for their lives, that there's anyone who can help them climb above and beyond that, and we need to give them that hope back. Government says that success is when they place a homeless person in a house for 6 months and the homeless person stays there.
Giving homeless people a home is only gonna give them a place to do their drugs for a year or whatever. But then once that year is over, or once their food stamps are up, or whatever, they're coming right back out here, because that's all they know.
We need to help them aspire to something much greater than just being in a house.
So I get into St. John's. They had addiction counselors, they had therapy, they had classes such as like healthy relationships, financial education and budgeting class. They had, 3 prepared warm meals per day.
St. John's provided me temporary housing, but what was really important to me was the counseling that they provided as well. You know what I mean? We had the parenting classes to teach me to be a better parent. We also had daycare. The structure that they had and the discipline that they had, I needed that.
They taught me how to get up and create a routine for myself and go to work, and how to be accountable, how to be on time every day.
When I got the call and said, hey, you're moving in, I was at the courthouse and I bawled like a baby. I cried for 15 minutes. When I walked on this property, I was overwhelmed. They have so many resources out here. They have the restorative justice, they have the family elder care, they have the clothing closet. If you have an alcohol drug problem like I had, they have the AA-NA meetings.
When I came through Haven, I was one of the first groups through their jail outreach program. It was a new program that had just started. Them supporting me when I felt defeated with employment and housing. Those were my 2 biggest barriers because of my criminal background. But having that support here, just that whole wraparound service for me was amazing.
Every single person here needs their own person-centered planning. We sit down with everyone and say, how can we help you? What happened to you? How's that affecting the situation you're in? And how can we help you overcome those barriers so we can get you sustainably back on your feet?
Everything is here. They don't have to go across town to the public safety office to get a form to take to the courthouse to do. It's all here.
We just want them to be progressing in good faith along that way. So we do hold folks accountable to, are we progressing? Are you meeting with your case manager? Have you done the things that have been laid out for you? And if you haven't, how can we help you do those things?
The only thing that's gonna work for me is to be held accountable. Dangle the carrot, but don't give it to me unless I'm clean, Maybe give me a taste, hey, this is what life is like again, with no guarantees, and the drug test me again.
I love the handouts, but I needed a hand up. You have to get your mindset and say, hey, now it's time for me to take care of myself.
Our ultimate goal is to turn them into a valuable component of the community where they're helping other people in their transition out of an unsettling environment like homelessness.
The common denominator needs to be healing and growing and prospering. We need to broaden the options available to the homeless, and we need to encourage system innovation.
There's no one-size-fits-all that's going to raise and empower human beings.
If you're an investor, this is a better deal than building shelter. We follow them. They stay out of homelessness.
Most people won't change when they see the light. Most people will change when they feel the heat. This applies to the homeless, and it applies to our government leaders who continue to follow the same failed policy that fails the homeless and fails our communities. We need to make sure they feel the heat so they change course and create policy that helps uplift the homeless and uplift our communities.